Hello everyone, I'm Eric from Sport 365, here with me once again is my colleague Alex. So, Arsenal played Southampton at home, another must-win game, and of course they didn't win. It's a 3-3 draw, and even that is kind on the performance, considering Arsenal needed 2 goals against the worst team in the league to barely salvage a draw. So another bad result, and Arsenal seems to be slumping at the worst possible time. So it's not looking great at the moment. So, what are your general thoughts on this game before we go into more detail?
Yeah, it's another draw that really feels like a loss. The fact we had to come from behind to even get a point is very disappointing, very frustrating. To be honest, I'm starting to lose faith that we'll actually win the title. I hate to say it, but that's how I'm actually feeling.
We won't keep playing like this, that's for sure. So, overall, performance was terrible, completely unacceptable, to be honest, but there were a few positives. Martinelli and Saka both actually seemed much of the game, unlike most of the rest of the team. And Odegaard played much better in the second half and scored one of the 2 late goals that helped Arsenal avoid a humiliating defeat to a terrible team. So there were a few positives in this game, despite the fact that the result was terrible and the performance was even worse. So what do you think about the positives that I just mentioned?
Yeah, well, it seems like in most of our poor performances this season, Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli have still played well most of the time, so not surprising there were like 3 of our only players that actually played well in this match.
Yeah, Odegaard wasn't, I mean, to be honest, Odegaard wasn't even that great in the first half. It's better in the second half. But yeah, Martinelli and Saka both played well. They seemed, like they were actually up for the challenge. So it's good to see them continue to play well. Odegaard will definitely need to play better from the very start of games. Unlike the performance against Southampton. But it's good to see all of them play relatively well. And another day, if the defense had been better, probably would have resulted in all 3 points instead of barely 1. So, fortunately, in terms of negatives, wasn't exactly a shortage of them in this game. First of all, Ramsdale made an idiotic error for Saint's first goal. He played a terrible pass straight to them when he had two other clear options. Don't know what the fuck he was thinking, quite frankly. And it ensured that the game started off the worst possible way for Arsenal, so that was definitely a huge negative in this game. What do you think of that error from Ramsdale?
Yeah, it was a pretty uncharacteristic error from Ramsdale. He hasn't made many errors like that this season, but unfortunately he did make one at absolutely terrible time in this match.
Yeah, I mean, he's made a few errors like that. Overall, he's largely got better and better as the season's gone on. Especially away from home, he's had some fantastic performances, particularly that away game against Tottenham. I think it was fantastic in that game, really good saves, but yeah, just made a terrible error in this game, and hopefully he makes up for it with a fantastic performance against Manchester City, because we probably didn't need him to do exactly that. So another negative, probably the biggest one, was Arsenal's defense in this game. I think he can. On certain players there were slenders, but overall it was bad. It's just way too easy for Southampton to create chances. Arsenal wasn't defending with sort of confidence or understanding or aggression that they needed to be honest. And Thomas Partey also didn't do a very good job along with shielding the back four like he normally does. So yeah, it was overall a really major negative, and defending was honestly ridiculously terrible. What do you think of all that, the defending as well, and Arsenal on this bench?
Yes, I agree. It was absolutely terrible. It was the worst thing about Arsenal's poor performance. I mean, letting, one of the worst, if not the absolute worst team in the league score 3 goals when you're trying to challenge for a title is totally unacceptable. Maybe 1 goal, but 3 is just completely unacceptable. So it was very disappointing.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the fact that it was 3, it's the fact that the first 2 were in the first 15 minutes. Well,
Yes.
I mean, it's completely unacceptable performance, and really a game that should have been comfortable win for Arsenal, playing the worst team in the league at home when you were trying to challenge for the title. So barely salvage a draw is ridiculously terrible. So, as I said, Arsenal's midfield also was very good. Jack was unavailable for this game due to illness, and boy, did Arsenal miss him. Arteta chose Fabio Vieira to replace him, and that was a mistake, a huge mistake. Fabio Vieira did basically nothing. His lack of physicality was a major issue throughout the entire match, and seemed to kind of retreat every ball was played to him. And I don't know if it was pressure or what, but it was easily one of Arsenal's worst performances in this game. What do you think of Fabio Vieira in this game?
Yeah, I agree. Well, he was saying that was a mistake by Arteta. I mean, he definitely doesn't have the necessary physicality or strength or aggressiveness to replace Xhaka, so not surprising he didn't really do a very good job. Of course, the player himself bears quite a lot of the responsibility for that, but it's also on Arteta.
Yeah, I think it was a poor choice, but yeah, I put majority of the blame on Fabio Vieira, to be honest. He's certainly had time to work on his physicality and improve it, and improve on all those other aspects as well, in order to adequately play Xhaka, especially when you're facing such relatively weak opposition. So yeah, it was terrible, and Arteta certainly made a mistake in choosing him. So Gabriel Jesus also had a very poor game. Overall, since coming back from his injury, he's been very good, even when he hasn't scored, although that's kind of rare. But unfortunately, he was ineffective against Southampton. Certainly played hard, but just didn't really cause their defense the kind of promise that one would hope he would. So we think of Jesus against Southampton.
Yeah, it's like you say, he's been quite good for the most part since returning from injury, but he just had a rare off night, and with the rest of the team playing so poorly, if he hadn't had an off night, maybe he could have rescued all 3 points for us. That's what a really good striker can do. But no one's perfect, and unfortunately, he did have an off night with most of the rest of the Arsenal team.
Yeah, I think it's too much to invest in too much, because he's overall been very good since coming back from injury, as we previously stated. But yeah, really not good that he had a poor game in this game, because if he had played better, then he might have been able to help Arsenal snatch all 3 points in this game. So, as previously mentioned, Arteta did not do a very good job in this game. Made a number of mistakes. Swapping Vieira for Xhaka was certainly a mistake. Arsenal just seemed unprepared against Southampton, to be honest, especially defensively. And this halftime team dog didn't seem to do very much at all, because Arsenal conceded that goal before starting on that comeback to make it 3-3. So I give them a 3 out of 10 match rating for this. I think it was one of the worst performances he's had as Arsenal manager, to be honest. What do you think of his management in this game?
Yeah, I agree. It was quite poor overall. Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a one-off, because Arteta certainly needs to do better for the rest of the season for us to have a chance of actually winning the title.
Yep.
So there you have it. Terrible result, terrible performance. There's not really much more to add. And Arsenal are slumping at worst possible time, really. They have to play Manchester City away from home next. And given the fact that they've dropped points in 3 straight games, pretty much a must-win game. So hopefully we see a completely different Arsenal team with much better result, much better performance. Otherwise, the title hopes for Arsenal might be gone by the weekend.